Hello, it's Garnet here, and I'm still doing the Big Daddy thing with Bobby, so he's going to join us today. I wanted to talk a bit about brain networks and brain perfume. Now, if you don't know what I mean by brain perfume, check the other most recent YouTube video and it'll explain. The basic concept is that in studying the brain in relation to its frequencies, its frequency output, what has been discovered is that although there's a very broad range, that they tend to be nested in kind of three layers or domains. Layers, it's not quite right, like domains. The lower, starting right down at around 0.001 hertz, we can't really call it 0 hertz, all the way up into the kind of mid-thetas, and then there's a mid-range, and then there is a top range or domain. And I call it perfume because when you create a perfume, you typically create a top note, middle note, and bottom note. So refer back to that video. When I was working to create the technical compositions, all of the creative design, in the very late stages, I discovered something that I think is really a treasure. And these are the primary brain networks. And there's been a good amount of discussion here and there about networks. Perhaps I'll do it again some other time. But networks are parts of the brain that come together for special purposes. When the purpose is finished, then they go back to their local functions, basically. So a brain network. And in the Neurolite, in the Brain Gym section, you'll notice a list of 7 brain networks. I call them the brain network reinforcements. So I won't go into what each of the networks do. There is other material for that. But the thing that really struck me when I first encountered the research, which is just from last year, brand new, is part of a research approach called connectome harmonics. You know, the genome is the entire DNA coding for the human being, the genome, the human genome. Well, that's finished. And now the focus is on what's called the human connectome. Not the explicit DNA coding, but all of the functional structural connections that make up this extraordinary complex adaptive system that we call the brain. When I encountered the information from the research, I was puzzled because each one was professed to be a charting or calibration metric of the frequency harmonics of each of these 7 specific brain networks. And I'm not trained in music. I have a basic idea. And when I think of harmonics in all the ways I've seen them, they tend to have a kind of principled regularity, I would call. And the harmonics in the brain networks are not like that. They're an unusual kind of relationship. And it isn't just what frequencies, but it's what frequencies in ratio of dominance to the other frequencies. And one of the characteristics, and I would hope that you use the brain networks in the Brain Gym, one of the things that is unusual to me, but now I think I better understand because of the perfume concept, is that there are a great number of very low, slow frequencies that are part of the harmonic configuration of each of the brain networks. I expected to see, more extended ranges or sort of fancy, exciting stuff. And I thought, wow, why are there so many lower, slower frequencies in the network harmonic for each of these networks? And now, having spent a good amount of time continuing to research in what's called rhythmic neuromodulation, meaning how it is using light or sound or electricity or magnetism or even touch kinetics, how it is that we can communicate with the brain. And the appreciation now that we have these 3 domains, like in perfume, bottom note, enduring, basic, almost invisible on the first one. You smell a perfume, you tend to get the top note, the florals and citruses and so on. And when you watch brain activity, the sort of the flash dance happens a lot in more volatile, faster frequencies, and they'll move like waves in and across the brain and throughout into the rooting of the brain, even top-down communication. So it's like the top note of the perfume. And the middle note kind of creates a context, kind of like a neighborhood in which for these other faster moving frequencies to take place. And then you've got kind of the bear hug of these lower, slower frequencies that don't change very fast, that they tend to hold and stabilize. And you kind of think that, like, these are, whoa, oh, sorry, Bobby, sorry, you okay? That was exciting. Anyway, these lower, slower ones, you kind of think, I would have thought of them as kind of almost being like opposites to the higher ones, and it isn't like that. There's this relationship in the same way that the integrity of the perfume is held by the bottom note, and then, you know, top note, wow, come and go, and then the middle note is like, oh, that's beautiful, that's really a great scent, and then after a while it's like, wow, what's that sort of magnetic quality there? Those are the bottom notes, you know, the resin oils, the heavy, dark, moody, beautiful, luscious ones, to me, like frankincense and myrrh and vetiver and so on. So what I'd like you to do is to appreciate that in the Neurolight, in the Brain Gym section, the brain network reinforcements, I think, are more profound than I thought. I guess I took their profundity in relation to their concept, that they're brain networks, so you want to reinforce those networks. It's really how the brain does what it does. The network is kind of a quick bridge between near chaos and temporary order. It's how the brain can go so fast because of this teamwork, these networks. And now to appreciate that these networks have this rooted stability as part of their process, and that they're allowed to work within mid and higher ranges of frequencies the way they do, but they still always kind of keep one foot in the lower, slower, and that's remarkable. So I guess that the brain network reinforcements in the Neurolight, in the Brain Gym section, they're probably the most perfume-like of any of the compositions. So there you go, brain networks and brain perfume. Take care. Say bye-bye.